I pledge allegiance to the flag
of
the
the United States of America
and to the republic
for which it
stands, one
nation,
under God,
under God,
indivisible,
with liberty and justice
for all. Okay, thank you. Pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12, 2020, order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, General Law, Chapter 38, Section 18, and the Governor's March 15, 2020 order imposing strict limitations on the number of people that may gather in one place. This meeting of the Sturbridge Board of Selectmen will be conducted via remote participation to the greatest extent possible. Specific information and the general guidelines for remote participation can be found on the town's website at www.sturbridge.gov/town-access-virtual-meeting. For this meeting, members of the public who wish to listen and or watch the meeting either online via the town's on-demand video broadcast, on cable TV on channel 191, or dial into the meeting at 774-304-145, enter 1428 pound for the meeting number, and 12345 for the access code. This phone number is only active for the public during public meetings. No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access proceedings in real time via technological means. In the event that we are unable to do so, despite best efforts, we will post audio and or video recordings, transcripts, or other comprehensive record of the proceedings on the town's website as soon as possible after the meeting. Okay. On the agenda this evening, we will have public service announcements, moments of silence, then we have a presentation by the Historical Commission, their Preservation Award. We have department reports, police department, building department, town administrator. We have action items, consideration and possible action on a water bill abatement request from Burgess Elementary School, consideration and possible action on the acceptance of a donation of personal protective equipment for the Sturbridge Police and Fire Department from the Sturbridge Rotary Club, consideration and possible action on the acceptance of a $100 donation from CMG Environmental to the Sturbridge Fire Department, consideration and possible action on the First Amendment to the host community agreement for Caregiver Patient Connection, LLC, changing name to Local Roots ME Inc., consideration and possible action on the contracting for snowplow service for winter 2021. Consideration and possible action on the confirmation of appointment of David Lamontag, me, as foreman to the Department of Public Works. Consideration and possible action on the Massachusetts Interlocal Insurance Association proposal for a 2-year rate renewal. We have old business under that, COVID-19 update, Septage 508 International, then new business, correspondence, approval of minutes, citizens forum, and then we will adjourn. Could we please have a moment of silence now for all those affected by the COVID virus? Forum, and then we will adjourn. Could we please have a moment of silence? Okay, thank you. Next, we have public service announcements. Ian, do you have any?
I have none.
Chase, do you?
I would just like to wish all the families of Sturbridge a happy Thanksgiving, and I hope that they're able to spend it with their loved ones.
Hey, Mary, do you?
Yeah, I just have one. I want to thank everybody that participated in the Home of the Brave 5K. It was held this past weekend. The proceeds are going to two veterans groups, Veterans Inc. and Project New Hope. One is the shelter and one is general services. We had 51 participants, and I also want to thank two businesses for their promotion of the race. The Sturbridge Coffee House had a Home of the Brave breakfast sandwich the entire week before, and on Veterans Day, and all of the proceeds are going to the race. And Sturbridge Coffee House also is giving 20% of all their proceeds on Saturday to the race, to the fundraiser, to the veterans. And the Public House had a Home of the Brave cupcake, and they are giving 30% of their profits on the cupcake for the week. So, the community really came together, and hopefully next year it won't have to be a virtual race. If the selectmen want to do it, we can also walk. Don't have to run. So, just putting it out there for next year. All right, that's it. And happy, healthy Thanksgiving to everyone, whether you're in person or you're Zooming. We're going to visit somebody in their driveway in our family, so hopefully it's not snowing or raining.
Thank you, Mary. Mike, do you have any public service announcements?
Just wishing everybody a happy Thanksgiving.
Okay, and I would also like to reiterate that. I hope people have an enjoyable Thanksgiving no matter who they're with or where they are. Okay, next on the agenda we have a presentation by the Historical Commission. Barbara, do you want to take this over, please?
I was muted.
Chris, are you on it?
Barbara, you're muted.
Huh?
You're muted, Bob.
Okay. How's that?
Okay, we can hear you.
Right. As I said, it's our pleasure as the Historical Commission in Sturbridge to present these preservation awards along with 3 special recognition awards. So first we want to thank people who helped us along the way. Alex in the town administrator's office typing the invitations to the owners, the letters of appreciation, the envelopes, the labels, and the copies of the surveys we are sending to the owners. Bob and the facilities coordinator advised and procured the method of attaching plaques to the outside of the buildings for those owners who want to hang their plaques. And to Jeff, the town administrator, for offering their services. Before we read the names of the buildings and the owners, the Historical Commission would like to recognize some special people. The Harrington family, owners of the Public House, generously agreed to move the Chamberlain grain and seed barn to the back of their property before they built their hotel on the common. It looks pretty comfortable out there in the field, and we expect that the added storage is a welcome bonus. We wish to recognize their effort to preserve a part of Sturbridge history, and we appreciate their cooperation. We do have a plaque for them that reads the A.B. Chamberlain Grain and Seed Barn, 283 Main Street, circa 1904 to 1911, in recognition of the Public House for moving the A.B. Chamberlain Grain and Seed Barn, thereby preserving a valuable historical asset which represents the agricultural and commercial development of Sturbridge. And that's Preservation Award presented to the Public House in 2020 by the Sturbridge Historical Commission. I don't know. This is, let's have a hard time. This is the plaque that we will be giving to the Public House. The next recognition we'd like to do is for Bill Barnsley, a.k.a. Tonight Santa Claus, is an example of a person who saw a need and quietly proceeded to fill it. With a profound sense of history, Bill documented all the gravestones in the old burial ground. He researched and recorded the names, birth and death dates, family connections, the epitaph, and the location. The result is a spiral-bound book and a large map available to the public in the Joshua Hyde Library. The Historical Commission wishes to recognize Bill and express our appreciation for all the time and dedication he gave to this project and his contribution to the recorded history in Sturbridge. Excuse me. So we have a certificate of appreciation presented by the Sturbridge Historical Commission to William Barnsley, 2020, in recognition of your research resulting in a comprehensive inventory of the old burial ground. It is an important contribution to the recorded history of Sturbridge, Massachusetts, and it is signed by the members of the Sturbridge Historical Commission with a town seal. So we thank you very much, Bill. So the third award is for Bob Briere. So we are going to postpone that presentation until a future date when Bob is able to join us on GoToMeeting. The background for the Preservation Award, in 2017 and 2018, the Historical Commission gained approval from the Community Preservation Committee and town meetings to use funds to conduct 2 historical surveys. The first one was done by the Pioneer Valley Planning Commission, and the second one was done by Public Archaeology Laboratory with matching funds from the Mass Historical Commission. Over 200 buildings were surveyed. While 200 is an impressive number, it does not represent all the historic buildings in Sturbridge. It represents only the scope of work for these 2 recent surveys. In the process of conducting the surveys, Pioneer Valley Planning Commission and Public Archaeology Laboratory took note of buildings they thought should be further researched to possibly qualify for the National Register of Historic Places, noting that further in-depth research would be needed to pursue the National Register status. And from those lists, from those 2 surveys, we have, that's where we are giving our awards, buildings that they thought might, with further research, qualify for the National Register of Historic Places. The recent surveys that have been done are available to the public under the Historical Commission in the town's website, and also at MAGRIS, MAGRIS, which is the database at the Massachusetts Historical Commission under the Secretary of State's website. If any owner or member of the public has additional or conflicting information about the history of any of these buildings in the surveys, please contact the Historical Commission or Mass Historical Commission, who they will add information that is documented to the survey. Okay, I want to note that there are no strings attached to these awards. Although there are no further requirements or restrictions on the owners of the buildings or the homes, we do hope the owners will be proud of this award and continue to consider the importance of historic preservation in the future. So the reason we are here tonight is to recognize these buildings and their owners on the local level and highlight their preservation with the goal to encourage preservation of other historic homes in Sturbridge. Each owner will receive a plaque with the historic name of the building, along with a letter of appreciation and a copy of the survey. Members of the Historical Commission will deliver or mail these awards in the upcoming weeks. So we will read the name of each house, the address, the date, and the owner of those who will receive the Preservation Award. And we're going to start with Rich. He's going to read the first few.
Thanks, Barbara. Just to let everyone know, this was, I think Barbara said it, a 2-year program, maybe a little longer than that, to get these together. So there's a lot of work that was put into this. So let me start with the first one, and I apologize if any of the last names I don't pronounce correctly. It's the Eli and Mary Marsh House at Champeau Road, circa 1762. And the people there are Douglas and Jennifer Klein Morrison. The second one is the Samuel Jr. and Mary Morse House, 47 Farquhar Road, circa 1800. And we have Lynn Sarty, S-A-R-T-Y. Number 3 is the Samuel and Lucy Hobbs House, 23 Hall Road, circa 1775. And the people there are Lawrence and Carol Hobbs. Number 4 is the Snellville District Number 2 Schoolhouse on Main Street, from 1874, and that's owned by the town. The next one is the Otis Blockingham Building on 572 Main Street, circa 1874 to 1880, and that is owned by the Blackington LLC here in Sturbridge. The next one is the John Smith House and Barns at 138 McKellen Road, circa 1857, and that is Timothy and Christy, and I hope I'm pronouncing this right, Pesci, P-E-C-C-I. Next one is the Abner Allen House, 3 Old Stagecoach Road, circa 1735 to 1772, and that is Francine Gentry. The next one is the George G. and Delina Cloutier House, 13 Pontock Road. The barn is from 1912. The house is circa 1946, and it's Barry and Christine Williams. Next one is the Jonas Bemis Silverberg Farm House and Barn, 248 and 251 Podunk Road. The barn is 1898. The house is 1850, and that's Evan and Christine Silverberg. Next one is the Hamilton Woolen Company House and Barn at 210 Shepherd Road. House is circa 1805, barn is 1898, and that's Emily Brunel. And the last one on my list is the Fiskdale Mill Agents Residency at 11 Summit Avenue, circa 1870, and that's Anthony Roach. And I think Kathy's going to read the next group.
Okay, thank you. I have the next few. The Deacon Daniel Plimpton House, 307 Main Street, circa 1800, and that is owned by 307 Sturbridge LLC. There are 4 buildings owned by 307 Sturbridge LLC on the corner of Main Street and Haynes Road. The next one is the Haynes Side Hill Barn, 307 Main Street, circa 1935. The Haynes Family House, 307 Main Street, circa 1830 to 1850. And the Haynes Carriage and Paint Shop, 307 Main Street, circa 1890. Other ones in that group are the Haynes Harness and Blacksmith Shop, 315 Main Street, circa 1850. Owner is Angela Gardner. And the Deacon Zenith Dunton House and Barn, 5 Haynes Street, circa 1780, and the carriage barn is circa 1880, and that is owned by Mark F. and Gail N. Richards. This area, these buildings that I just listed are in what is considered an area by Mass Historical. And the importance of these is that it was a commercial corner owned by the Haynes family, and you can see that they had a carriage and paint shop and a harness and blacksmith shop. The area around the common was very much a commercial area with the shoe manufacturing, other things going on like the Chamberlain barn, and that potentially has a potential to become a designated area, actually within the common. So I'll go on. The Joseph Marsh House, 142 Brookfield Road, circa 1760, owned by Jacob Isnitsky and Beth Federici. The Elab and Fanny Marsh House, 213 Brookfield Road, circa 1795, Ronald K. and T. Pisani Jablansky. The Joshua Fisk House, 530 Main Street, circa 1835, owned by Kevin McConnell. And the James Johnson Double House, 535 Main Street, circa 1827 to 1828, owned by Cedric A. Daniel and Greg Pettis. Kathy is going to read the final list.
I got to start with the Sturbridge Cotton Mills office, 541 Main Street, circa 1827 to 1828, owned by NBM Maine LLC. The Fiskdale Lower Mill, 559 Main Street, circa 1845, owned by Sturbridge Market Realty LLC. Next is the Alphas White House, 420 Main Street, circa 1790, owned by Porchlight Investments. Next is the Winthrop White House at 420 Main Street as well, circa 1857, also owned by Porchlight Investments. The Daniel White House and Barn at 472 Main Street, circa 1876, owned by Gregory and Deborah Morse. The Martin Phillips House and Barn, 468 Main Street, circa 1900, owned by Ellis and Barbara Smith. And the John and Lizzie Hooker House and Barn, 473 Main Street, circa 1887, owned by Amarjit Singh Gill and I apologize if I'm not pronouncing these correctly, but Pathak Anu Radha. And finally, the George E. Richards House and Barn, 407 Main Street, circa 1874. The barn is circa 1892, and this is owned by Marin Realty.
Okay, thank you. So that concludes our awards for 2020. Steve hopes to present more awards in the future, probably with a different criteria and format, because we won't have the surveys to work off on our list. But thank you very much for your time and interest. Finally, I will show you what the plaque is that we are going to be giving to the owners. And it has the name of the house, the address, and the date. And Preservation Award, Sturbridge Historical Commission 2020. So we hope everyone who has received one of these will take an interest in the history, kind of be fascinated by the historic name, which I think is always interesting. And we hope that other people in the community will also continue to preserve their historic homes. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Barbara. And on behalf of the board, I'd like to thank the commission for all their hard work researching and pulling everything together. And particularly, congratulations to the people who received the awards. Okay, anyone else on the board want to say anything? Mary?
Mary, you're muted.
You're muted,
You're
Mary.
muted, Mary.
You're muted.
I never realized how many historical homes that we have in Sturbridge. It's a lot to be proud of. And Barbara, on behalf of Barbara for the commission, I think you all did a great job pursuing this project. Have any of the owners, I noticed that in your letter, you said you would assist them if they were interested in pursuing National Register status. Has anybody, do you think anybody will move forward in that vein?
Well, I don't know, because they are just getting, they had the invitation to this meeting, and there are some of the owners here, which I'm very glad to see. So we'll see when they, get their, survey information, or they access it through the town's website. We'll just see. It takes a lot of research that is typically done by professionals. So, we need to go that route. But I certainly hope that there are some people that take that up.
Well, keep us up to date. I know a lot of us would be interested in knowing.
And also keep in mind that there are a whole lot of other houses and buildings. This hardly touched on the common, which, there are many historic buildings on the common also. So we have a lot more to survey if we ever can get to that point.
Did you already expend all the money?
Yes. The first one was funded totally by the CPC, and the second one, the Mass Historical, once they approve of the survey, then they reimburse the town, and that has been done.
Thank you.
Okay, anyone else on the board? Okay, Mike?
Yeah, I just wanted to thank the Historical Commission. And Barbara, you've worked really hard, and what came to my mind when you were going through all the list of historic properties is the term "she persists" in a good way. So I'm glad that you have persisted in seeing through your work. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you.
Okay, thanks again, and you all have a good night and a nice Thanksgiving.
Thanks, Rick. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next on the agenda, we have department reports. Police Department.
Good evening.
Good evening, Earl.
I have 3 months worth of reports for you: August, September, October. Business has been running as usual, normal, considering the times. Nothing major. We did have a couple highlights. I'll point out that in August we had our annual senior citizens cookout. We had to modify it a little bit to meet COVID standards, but that was successful. And in September, we had a little memorial for Officer Richard Dupree, who was the only Sturbridge police officer that was struck and killed in the line of duty September 15th, 1979. So members of the department, the town administrator, the fire department went over, and we had a short memorial for him. And then in October, we had a successful car seat installation that took place over at 420 Main Street. Installed several car seats for children, for parents that needed them installed. And if you have any questions, I will be happy to answer them.
Hey, any questions on the reports? How unusual.
Hmm.
Do you have anything else, Earl?
Oh, that's all I have for now.
Okay. Well, thank you, and have a nice Thanksgiving.
Thanks, you too, and everybody else as well. Have a nice Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving.
Okay, next we have the building department. Is Nelson here?
Yes, I'm here. Good evening.
Good evening, Nelson.
Yep. You said my reports for September, October. Daily operations are the same as usual. You know, issuing of permits and stuff. Zoning is the same as usual as far as, you know, the same questions. Is it a buildable lot? Things like that. The only thing I wanted to point out was that 508 International, I did write my opinion in a letter form, gave it to Jeff, and I know Jeff distributed it to the board of selectmen so you could read it. Residential permits.
I can't hear him.
They told. Can you hear me? Hello?
Can you hear me, Mary?
Can you hear me now? Hello?
Mary?
I think Mary froze up.
Yeah. Everybody else can hear me?
Yes,
sir.
Yeah, I can.
You want me to continue? Hello?
Please.
Okay, for the month of September, October, there was a total of 245 permits. I had a total value of $31,271. I mean, it's been busy in this respect. If you took that total, and we never had any huge permits, I mean, with money size, and if you multiply that by 12, it would come out to quite a sum of money. So we've been busy. And then I broke it down. We got it broken down: electrical permits 63, gas permits 51, plumbing permits 28. The other thing I did is I put specific upcoming and ongoing commercial projects. I'll go through the ongoing ones first, but any changes or what seems to be changes that would be of interest to the town and the board. Pilot Travel Center.
Nelson, can I just interrupt you for 1 minute, please?
Sure.
Did you pass in a written report that you're reading from? Because
Yes.
yes.
Mayor, I think we're missing some pages, so we may, you know, if you would like, we can kind of move on and get this back in December when we have the full report in the packet. I'm looking at it just like you are, and there's some pages missing, so we apologize for that.
Okay, yeah. And on the report that we do have, it's all the permits. Is there any way to print that larger?
I'll work on that for next time.
Okay. So, Nelson, you don't mind then if we had to come back in December?
Sure. No problem.
Yeah, because we don't have the complete report here. Unless you have any major problems you'd like to bring up.
No, not really.
No?
Not really. I mean, there's a lot of good things happening, a lot of new things coming up, but December's fine.
Okay.
Everything's going well, you know, considering, you know, with everything going on with the virus and everything. But I think everything's in good control.
Okay.
Okay.
So, okay, thank you. Have a nice Thanksgiving.
Yeah, you people will have one too, and be safe. Everybody be safe. And
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's hard, but we're all working hard at it. Nothing ever happens and all that. So, hey, like I say, everybody have a good Thanksgiving. Be safe. Bye-bye.
Happy holidays.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Next, we have the town administrator's update. Jeff?
Thank you. Couple things on it. The Route 20 corridor project, we received a letter last time stating that it was eligible for funding. Then we got notice that DOT would pick up the engineering. They've sent a confirmation of that in the packet. I think you have the letter from DOT stating the obligations of both DOT and the town. So we will have to work with CMRPC to get this programmed on the tip. I've reached out to CMRPC, and there'll be a solicitation in December for projects, so we'll work with them and try to get a a toehold on the transportation improvement program. So when and if this is designed and ready to go, it can be funded in 2026. That's kind of the time frame we're looking at for TIP funding. Fishkill Sewer Service by Southbridge. We talked about this a couple, 3 months ago with that new senior citizens mobile home park that's proposed for Fishkill. We ran some numbers with the Fishkill, with the Southbridge folks on sewer capacity. They're telling us that they're at capacity in that current line, and we would have to upgrade that at our cost. We also looked at the numbers of what we're paying and what we're collecting, and we're kind of not collecting what we're paying. So Butch, Shane, and I and Barbara, Barry, kind of got together, and it's probably in our interest to explore building our own pump station to get the sewer to Sturbridge. So Butch and Shane are in the process of getting some engineering quotes to look at designing a new pump station. And then the final item on the report is the fire truck. As you know, we purchased a new fire truck. The group we purchased the truck from had 1 we could borrow. Thank you, Ludlow, for buying a new truck, because we got your old one for now, and it's wonderful. So for $1. So we'll put that one into service and return Spencer's with our gratitude. And then when we get the brand new one in, we'll either sell the truck back to the vendor for $1 and let some other department who needs a truck enjoy it. But that's kind of where we are with the fire truck. We're expecting it to be delivered sometime in April, the new truck. Just one more thing in the correspondence. Go ahead.
That's all right. I'll till the end.
Okay, go ahead, Jeff.
I was just going to say, in the correspondence, there's a letter from the American Legion asking for some fee relief. I'm prepared to talk about that when we get to those items. I've got some numbers on what their fees are, so we can talk about that in some detail if the board wishes. I do have some new business items, but I'll hold those until new business. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, Mary?
My connection wasn't great, Jeff. Did you say on the Route 20 corridor project, we're looking at 2026?
Yes, under kind of the way the TIP works, the Transportation Improvement Program, it's a 5-year process. Most of it has to do with, engineering. You do a 10% review, 25% plans, 50% plans, 75% plans, then bidding and everything else. So it's a 5-year process to get funding in under construction.
Okay. And then one other question on the Fishkill Sewer Service.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's excellent that you're pursuing our own pump station so that we can service it ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Question, if we were to go that route, would it only be the mobile park on that pumping station, or would we take the sewer that's now going to Southbridge and put it on that one?
Great question. We would look to collect all the sewer that's going to Southbridge and put that into Sturbridge. So, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
That's all I have, Madam Chair.
Okay. Okay, we have action items. And the first one listed is consideration and possible action on water bill abatement request from Burgess Elementary School. And I believe, Mr. Guerin, are you the assistant principal?
Yes, I am. Good evening.
Good evening. Would you like to explain, please?
So, Jeff, did my email this morning make it to the board?
No, I'm just going to bring it up to him this evening. The original estimation of the relief sought it included all the sewer costs, and Mr. Guerin and Mr. Jackson have reviewed those numbers. So instead of asking for $21,000 of relief, the real number is $17,881.25. So that provides for the actual sewer use. So they're looking for $17,881.25 of relief. There you go, Paul.
Okay, so we noticed a discrepancy in the billing. Sandy Belanger got the October bill, the FY20 October bill, and it was $36,501.72. And so she contacted me to look into why there would be a discrepancy. In late September, we noticed that we had a leak in our irrigation, and we turned off the irrigation for the year at that point. We didn't realize at that time when we turned off the irrigation how significant that leak was throughout the summer months. And so, looking back, we're looking to, that relief is based on paying the same amount for the October FY19 bill as it would for the FY20 bill October. I think actually that bill would even be higher than what actually would have happened this year had we not had the leak, due to the fact that COVID restricted the use of our building for those months with the summer school and the opening of school. So I think that number is still significantly, actual usage is probably lower than what was last year in October. But again, any abatement at this point, we were allotted $48,000 in those 2 months, our first 2 quarterly bills, we've expended that amount. And given our COVID expenses, which seem to be escalating, any help from the town would be appreciated.
Hey, Jeff, what did the discussion entail when you and Butch and Barbara reviewed it?
We looked at this, and because he had a secondary request, which was the secondary meter, we looked at this and just recommended it go to the board for action, given it's a municipal building. I think it creates somewhat of a unique situation that's probably best handled by the board. There's no doubt that the irrigation system was the cause of the increased water usage. It's really a policy decision on whether or not those leaks impact the septic and you want to give relief on the sewer side.
So the second part of the request would be to install a second meter at our expense. And then I believe I talked to Butch this morning, and he believes we're the only municipal owned property that has an irrigation system. So I know the board has looked at abatements before for private. I was told that this probably would be the first publicly requested abatement. But looking at this, that would save us probably about $20,000 on our water bill, knowing that isn't going into sewer anyways. That's just going to the fields and making the fields look beautiful and usable for our sports.
Mr. Garrett, one of the goals of the Board of Selectmen and Town Administrator for the past year has been to look at the water fees and at the same time looking at these exception meters. The town hall actually uses, they don't have irrigation, but they use quite a bit of water for the gardens that they grow a lot of food in and it expanded. So I would not be in favor of moving forward on the exception meters until we get all the information. It is municipal, however, we'll have all the people with irrigation systems coming forward, and it would certainly impact money taken into the town. But we can look at your first request on the abatement. Comments from the board? Mary?
Hi, Mr. Gurin. I guess I agree with our chair on the request to put in a second meter, only because we are looking into it, as she said, and I think we're going to have to allow residents to do the same thing. We've had a lot of residents come in, and they've had leaks with their water hose or whatever, and we've been pretty consistent in saying if it's not the town's fault, then they're still going to have to pay. So I would prefer, rather than letting one department of the town, one arm of the town, get a separate meter for the irrigation. I think it's a great idea, but I think we're going to have to offer it to our residents as well, because I don't see why we're going to move forward piecemeal. In terms of the abatement, it's a hard one because we don't abate for residents. Now, in this instance, I think it is a little bit unique because I don't want to see our schools having a financial crunch with COVID. I know you mentioned that you're already kind of expending a lot more money than you thought you would. And given that it is a pandemic, I'm inclined to grant the abatement in this case. But I really do think as a board, we got to move forward with determining whether we're going to have separate meters, because, now we have Sturbridge Hills that already has their irrigation is separate by the court case. So I just think that we need to look at that as a whole from a policy perspective and not do it piecemeal, because I think a lot of residents are going to give some pushback as far as that goes. But that's my take. So,
hey, Michael?
I have a question. How many irrigation meters do we have in existence? I know there's some at the condos. How many are there?
Shane or
I don't know,
Butch?
Shane, would you have?
I believe the condos are the only ones that have the irrigation meters.
So there's just one irrigation meter, or just Sturbridge Hills? That's the only place?
Yeah, they have numerous meters on different places up there. I think off the top of my head, they have like 10 irrigation meters.
Wow.
We actually plan to put one on anyways because it'll be easier to monitor the irrigation leaks if we ever have one. So we plan on installing one anyways.
Chase?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Selectman Dowling as far as, if we give it to Burgess, every resident's going to want to put one on. And, I mean, they have a right to put one on if we do with Burgess, in my opinion. I do think this is a different situation given the fact that it is our school. And I don't want to see the schools get hurt over this water bill if they're already over budget as it is. So, I mean, I would be in favor of abating the sewer fee with Burgess right now.
Ian?
I think I agree with everybody else. I don't want to set a precedent that we're going to grant these to everybody, but with it being the school and it's essentially the town paying itself, that we should probably, grant the abatement and go from there.
Okay, does somebody want to make a motion then on the request of the abatement for $17,881.25?
I'll make a motion.
Go ahead.
Is you sure? Okay, I'll make a motion that the Board of Selectmen grants an abatement to Burgess Elementary School on their water bill in the amount of $17,881.
25 cents.
Oh, I'm sorry, and 25 cents.
Second, Chase.
Okay. How do you vote, Ian?
Yes.
Okay, Chase, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mike?
No.
Gary, how do you vote?
Yes.
I'm on a dilemma on this one because I do realize it's the school and all. However, it has always been practice of the town that if it is not the town's fault, we do not abate. So I think I'll have to go along with Mike and vote no. But the vote is 3-2, so the motion passes. Now, Mr. Guerin, as far as the section meters, we'll wait on that until we get a lot more information. Okay?
Well, thank you so much. We appreciate your support very much. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Have a nice Thanksgiving.
Oh, I'm staying for the COVID updates because there's more for Burgess on those. So thank you.
Okay.
But have a nice Thanksgiving.
I have a question. I have a related question, Mary.
Mary?
Of just Shane and Jeff. Just refresh my recollection on the progress we're making in terms of warning users when their bill is much higher than their typical average. I know we were going to try to do something where we're able to do that, and I forgot how it got left.
Mm-hmm. We're working on a process of meter reading and software integration to be able to do that without producing a bill. And that's really where we are, to be able to get those numbers produced in the system without then sending that to the financial system to produce a monthly bill.
How long the process, when do you think you might have an answer on that?
Oh.
In a few months? I don't have any, this is beyond my area of knowledge, so.
One way or the other, we'll bring some information back to the board by the end of December on where we are with this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, next we have a letter for donation of personal protective equipment to the Sturbridge Police and Fire Department through the Sturbridge Rotary Club. It comes from Klaus Hatchfeld. It entails 1,000 face masks for the first responders. Any question on that? Someone want to make a motion?
This is Mike, and I'd like to make a motion to accept the donation of 1,000 face masks from the Sturbridge Rotary Club with gratitude.
Is there a second? Okay. Mary, how do you vote?
Mary, yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Chase?
Yes, Chase.
Ian?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Okay, next we have a letter from Fire Chief, a donation to the Fire Department of $1,000 from CMG Environmental. Any questions on that? Jeff, I just had a little correction on page 123. So, the letter from the chief, he gives the address as 67 Hall Road, but then he says over the 12 months previous, they responded to 7 Hall Road. I assume it's just a typo.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Anyone have a question? Is there a motion?
Yes, this is Mike again, and I'd like to make a motion to accept the donation of $100 from CMG Environmental with gratitude.
Okay, is there a second?
Second, Chase.
Hey, Ian, how do you vote?
Yes.
Aaron?
Mary, yes.
Michael?
Mike, yes.
Okay,
Yes, Chase.
and I vote yes. Okay, next we have a letter from caregiver patient care, the host community agreement. Jeff, you just want to go over that briefly, please?
Yes, and Mike is here from Caregiver Patient to answer specific details, but Caregiver Patient has gone through a name change for tax purposes. They've changed kind of how they're organizing their corporation, and they're changing their name in their management structure, and that would require the host community agreement to be amended. The KP Law wrote the amendment for this action, and caregiver has submitted the necessary paperwork to change her name to Local Roots. And Mike from caregiver can answer specific questions on all that if you have them.
Hey, anybody have a question? Okay, hearing no questions, someone want to make a motion?
This is Ian. I will approve the first amendment to the host community agreement for Caregiver Patient Connection, LLC.
Second, Chase.
Hey, Mary, how do you vote?
Mary, yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Chase?
Chase, yes.
Ian?
Yes.
And I vote yes.
Mary,
Okay, next we have a letter.
just a comment.
Oh,
For the Board of Selectmen members, we need your signatures on this document. It'll be available at Town Hall. If you can stop by in the clerk's office to sign this, please, over the next few days. Thank you.
okay, thank you, Jeff.
Yes.
And next we have a request on the bid for snow plowing service. Chris, you want to just run through it quickly?
Yeah, we had a bid opening for all the plow drivers, and good. We pretty much lower. It's not me.
No, it's David. David, sorry, I had to mute you. You got some background noise going on.
Anyway, yeah, some are higher, some are lower. We had a couple of new guys, which were good because they came in lower. So we're pretty much where we were last year. But and the good thing, I'm always worried that we don't have enough, but it looks like we'll have enough to do what we need to do.
Okay. Of course, last time we joked about snow. We got 6 inches.
I know it. Let's not have any more of that this year.
Yeah, no comments to jinx it. Somebody want to make a motion then?
Make a motion to approve the list of snowplow contractors for winter 2021.
Your second?
I'll second it. Ian?
Okay, Mary, how do you vote?
Mary, yes.
Chase?
Yes, Chase.
Mike?
Yes, Mike.
Ian?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Okay, next we have a request for an appointment of David. And David, how do you say your last name?
Lamontagne.
Lamontagne, okay. As foreman for the Department of Public Works. Butch, you want to give a little explanation?
Yep, this is Dave Lamontagne. We've been petitioning for quite a while for a position. A little bit of break in our management, and this foreman position is going to be perfect. When I first started, I didn't know Dave, and he just presents himself very well. He's very well versed in a lot of construction stuff. He's done some private work, which is always good experience. He's done some water work for the Southbridge Water Department. He was with the DPW over in Southbridge for a couple of years, and he also enjoys the work so much that he does his own work. He has some of his own equipment, and he does a little bit of private stuff. And he just seems like a very well-rounded individual with a lot of common sense, and I'm really looking forward to him coming into the department as a foreman.
Hey, David, would you like to say anything?
Hold on, he's muted. Let me. Hold on. David?
Yeah. You there?
Yep.
We can hear you. There you are.
Yeah, I'd just like to thank everybody. I'm excited to work with everyone and make a positive impact in the department and the community.
Okay. Any questions for David? Someone willing to make a motion then?
Mike, and I'd like to make a motion to confirm the appointment of David Lamontagne as foreman for the Sturbridge DPW, effective November 17, 2020, and hourly pay rate of 3108.
Is there a second?
Second, Chase.
Okay, Mike, how do you vote?
Yes.
Chase?
Yes.
Mary?
Mary, yes.
Ian?
Yes.
And I vote yes. So, welcome aboard.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Good morning.
Thank you very much. Have a good Thanksgiving, everyone.
Dave.
Yeah, you too.
All right.
Thank you. Okay, next we have request on the 2-year insurance proposal. Jeff, you want to give a synopsis of that, please?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair and board members. Maya, our insurer for property liability, auto, and workers' comp, is proposing a 2-year rate agreement. The first year would be a zero increase, except for changes in coverage like we add a vehicle, take a vehicle off, or add a piece of property. So current rates would stay the same. If we made adjustments to coverage, that would increase or decrease the pricing. And then the second year, no more than a 2.5% increase for the second year. Again, depending upon, adding or removing property or payroll limitations and so forth. So this is a kind of a common thing with municipal insurance cooperatives. It helps them plan their program. It helps municipalities plan their program. So we would recommend you accept the 2-year agreement.
Okay, any questions from the board? Is someone willing to make a motion?
Yeah, this is Mike. I want to make the motion, but I just wanted to ask Jeff a quick question first. I know Maya offers incentives for department heads taking courses and things like that. Do we take advantage of the credits that we get back from Maya?
Yes, and Robin, are you on the line? Wait for Robin, because she's been working with Maya on those reward programs, and we've been able to access equipment and tools and all kinds of things.
Yes, I'm here. Good evening.
Yeah, Robin, the Maya rewards. What have we gotten in Maya rewards lately?
Last year's rewards are a dollar value of $4,652 that we are looking at submitting for using for a grant. There's a couple of options. We can use those for security cameras at the rec facility. We could use that for hazardous materials removal if we have that. So we're looking at utilizing the grant benefits of that cash back. We can also put it towards our premium if we don't need to or want to purchase anything with it. And we also just submitted for the current, every year Maya has a risk management grant that they put out for up to $10,000. Last year we received about $8,000 for the purchase of water loss mitigation equipment for the facilities department. So that was able to get shop vacs, a dehumidifier, and like those large commercial dehumidifiers. And DPW received some confined entry space equipment so that they can enter the manholes. This year we put in for another grant for a total of about $9,000 for a manhole lift cover, which is a magnet to lift the manholes off the street to make sure the guys don't have to do that with their backs. And we put in for some additional security cameras in the public safety complex as well at the request of PD.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Robin. So I'd like to make a motion to accept the 2-year Maya insurance proposal.
Is there a second?
Second, Chase.
Hey, Mary, how do you vote?
Mary, yes.
Mike?
Mike, yes.
Chase?
Yes, Chase.
Ian?
Ian, yes.
And I vote yes. Okay, next on the agenda we have old business. First one is COVID-19 update. Jeff?
Thank you, Madam Chair. My report's in the packet, and I sent it ahead of time because there were some items that I wanted you to be aware of before the meeting. As Mr. Gurin said, there's a couple of COVID-related items or Burgess-related items for this. They've put in for some funding for some enhanced cleaning, air duct cleaning, and then some ionizers for their HVAC system to help with the quality of the air in the building. It is, Robin's been through with the Department of Revenue on the use of COVID funds for these items. It is a municipal building, and DOR says it's an applicable use. We'd like to be able to pay for these two things with COVID money. I think I sent you the duct cleaning last week. The ionizers we got today, they're $21,144. So between the two, it's a little bit more than $100,000 to get the ducts cleaned and install the ionizers at Burgess. Robin can answer some details on that if you have any questions. And let me just give you the exact amounts for both of those. The duct cleaning is $85,800 from Pro Air Duct Cleaning, and the ionizers are $21,144 from CW Engel. And Mr. Gurin can address the need, and Robin can address the impact.
Okay, Mr. Gurin?
Well, we've had the opportunity to have our ducts cleaned. The building has now been operational for about 9 years, 8 to 9 years. So at this point, it's a good thing to look at our system, especially given COVID and where we have this opportunity. We are very appreciative that the town would do this. The other exciting thing, though, is after it gets clean, we're going to install these ionizers. And I've done a lot of research, and I've spoken to a bunch of different HVAC people. And this is something at the beginning of the pandemic we wanted to do, but we didn't have the funding. And I'm hoping that this will, right now we're trying to do 4 air changes per hour, which is running our air handlers at almost max capacity. What I'm hoping, and I believe the science, and Robin has probably looked into this in a class she's taking as well, that we'll be able to hopefully lower that, which will then lower our utility costs, because again, that air going in will be pretty much sterilized air. The ionizer kills 99.9% of all viruses and bacteria. So that, including the MERV 13 filters that we have installed there, I think we'll have pretty much the cleanest air in town. Hopefully.
Okay. Robin, do you want to add anything?
No, I think Paul has done a really very good job. It unfortunately didn't come to light until about 2 weeks ago that I was walking the facility and I made the suggestion for the duct cleaning. So because we are running out of time for the December 30th date, we got as many proposals as we could. We did have vendors for both projects decline based on the timeline, so it's a little bit more difficult. But otherwise, I think these are both good things for the town building, and I'm hoping that we can help them out.
Hey, Mary?
I just want to say that I fully support both uses of COVID money. I would be prepared to make a motion to that effect if we don't need more discussion. I just wanted to say, in terms of the ionizers too, even once we have COVID under control, God willing, with vaccines, I think it's an excellent idea to reduce colds and flus during the winter season and less sick time for both students and teachers. So I think it's a great idea. I'd like to see, even if we had the funding to be able to put that in our town in some other buildings like our senior center and our town hall. I don't know if that's a possibility as well.
Chase?
Yeah, I just had a question for Mr. Guerin. Is this because this is upwards of $100,000, is this a step in the school's mind to be getting the kids back in school full time, spending this kind of money on something?
Yes. We had submitted a plan in August, which is a reopening plan. And so, again, we're looking at opening phase 2. Phase 1 was the hybrid model. And so there's a meeting next Monday with the board, the school board, and we're actually going to be discussing that as well. So we're having internal meetings, plus the school board is on it. So yes, that is the game plan, is to, and what the governor is actually supporting as well is getting students back in full time, as many as possible. So, yes.
Great, then I support this duct cleaning and infrared cleaners. I'm all for it.
Okay, any other questions from the board? Somebody want to make a motion then?
I'll make a motion, Mary Dowling. I'll make a motion to authorize the use of COVID care money to Burgess Elementary School to purchase, to have the ducts cleaned in the amount of $85,800 and to purchase and install ionizers in the amount of $21,144.
Second.
Here, second. Okay. Ian, how do you vote?
Yes.
Okay, Chase?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Mary?
Mary, yes.
And I vote yes. Jeff?
Thank you for that. I have one more COVID item, if we're ready for that.
Can I?
Thank you, everybody. We appreciate all your support tonight.
Okay, thank you.
Happy Thanksgiving.
You too.
Yes, you too.
Here.
Okay, Jeff?
Yes, in the last week or 10 days, we've heard some very good news about potential vaccines. In both of those that are seemingly nearing the finish line, or at least rounding the final turn, they're 2-day shots. 1 day, wait 28 days, take another one. I would anticipate and I would hope that when you're eligible to get this, it's going to take some time out of your day to wait in line and get processed. I would like the board to consider, and I don't need an answer tonight, but maybe we can talk about this as we get closer to deployment of the vaccine, of allowing vaccine days. So town employees who have an appointment to get a vaccine, they can take a day off with pay to get that vaccine and then go home and just deal with the outcome of the vaccine. It would be 2 days per employee. It would encourage the use of the vaccine. You wouldn't have to spend your weekend or your sick time or vacation time to get the vaccine. So something that I would ask the board to consider over the next few weeks.
Okay. Anything else on the COVID? You checked into the testing at school.
Yes, I visited with the Board of Health about that. There was a program that the state sponsored, but the schools didn't pick it up. I can continue to look into those items, but that's as far as I got so far.
Okay, and then the town hall's also gone to visitors by appointment only?
We started today by appointment only. Yep.
Okay, any questions on any of those?
I think Mary?
This is just still COVID because it came up with the school, but I don't know if Robin's still on the phone too. I would like to pursue getting ionizers for our senior center or the town hall. I mean, it seems like it's a great air filtration system to kill germs, and it'd be nice to get our seniors, having purified air as well. It seems to me that would be very appropriate with our COVID money if the board was on board with that.
One of the CARES Act responses that I got was that we can spend up to $150,000 on capital improvement projects. We have not met that threshold. nowhere near that threshold yet. I have been sort of paying attention, unfortunately, because we have oil burning furnaces, boilers in most of our buildings. We do not have the forced air system like they have at Burgess. So it becomes a little more complicated. One of the things that I am looking into are individual air purifiers, but that could also just be cumbersome and noisy within somebody's individual office. So to be continued from my perspective.
Okay. So ionizers are not something that can be installed if you don't have forced hot air. Is that, or forced hot water? It wouldn't be able to be put in the senior center. That's the building I have the most concern for because that's our most vulnerable population. So I'd like to see what we can do in terms of getting something installed there. I mean, I just feel like, again, they're the most vulnerable population, and I'd like them to be able to, convene at some point. And I think it would help even with the flu and with viruses if we can do something. I don't know if we only have until the end of the year to, so I would personally make that a priority to look at least at our senior center.
I could do that.
I don't know how the rest of the board feels. I mean, that's just my input.
I thought, don't we have central air at the senior center now? Central air conditioning with an air handler?
Yes, air conditioning, but does not heat.
Yeah, but you can.
We'll keep.
You want to freeze them out?
We'll keep looking for ways to make this happen at the senior center.
Robin will keep on top of it, see if there's anything we can do, because I'm sure the rest of the board would be amenable to moving on that.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Robin. Okay, anything else on the COVID? Okay, next under old business is the septage. Okay, and we have Shane here, although I think Shane's letter is pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah, you basically wanted to, what was asked is, were we covering our costs by what we were charging? So I look at last year's numbers, and you are indeed covering your cost. The outside septage is also paying for the sludge that's generated at the plant itself, and then a little bit back into the general fund. I've also made some phone calls to our haulers just to see what would happen if we did go up a penny and you would lose all that business. There's another plant 8 miles away that's charging the 6 cents a gallon. It was tough to tell when we started taking outside septage because the computer that tracks all that at wastewater had to be replaced. So what I did was I went and looked at the sludge hauling totals before the new plant was built when you didn't take any outside septage and you took very little in-town septage because of the restrictions on the plant. And I ran the numbers, I had the numbers, for 2010. We spent $160,000 hauling sludge from the plant. And in 2011, $120,000 hauling sludge from the plant. So my opinion is you have a good thing going. It's covering the cost, and my recommendation to the board would be to leave things the way they are. The other thing that we do is both North Brookfield and Spencer give breaks for tight tanks because they're usually at least 60-70% water. We don't give those breaks. We strictly charge 5 or 6 cents. So as I stated the last time this got brought up, it's the board's decision, and I'll do whatever you wish, but you have my recommendation.
Okay. Shane, this goes back to 70s when we actually had a water and sewer commission. They were actually the ones that charged for taking the septage, and at that time, most people were on, their own sewer system, not sewer, they were on their,
Septic.
what do you call it, the septic system. And then as more and more development, and that we got to the point where the plant was at or near capacity, and that's why we stopped and then went back to it. So it's been around a lot, and it was initiated for that very reason, to have a source of revenue. Any other questions or comments from the board?
Yeah, this is Mike. I looked into it. I called Upper Blackstone. I've called Springfield Water and Sewer. They can't. They can't treat at these very large plants. They can't treat septage for 6 cents a gallon. It costs them about 10, 11, around 10 cents a gallon. Springfield charges 11. Upper Blackstone charges 10. Webster charges 10 cents a gallon. Palmer is 9.5 cents a gallon. It's just we can't. If we take into our capital cost of the plant and the operating costs, and it's going to be up around 10 cents a gallon to treat septage. I know Southbridge is 66.87 or 6.89 cents per gallon. Well, they're almost 7 cents a gallon in Southbridge. Spencer has a step system that, if you hit it just right, you'll be at 6 cents a gallon. I'd like to ask Shane, where does the sludge go? Does it go to Cranston?
It does.
Yeah, and that's a Viola plant.
That's correct. And the reason it goes to that, Cranston, is we looked into when we rebid the job to bring it up to Upper Blackstone, and based on the percentage solids, it's cheaper to go to
that's right.
Veolia plant.
Right. Or Woonsocket. But my evaluation is we can't process that and pay the help and pay our capital expense. We can't. There's no way we're doing it for 6 cents a gallon. There's no way. It's costing us about, it's costing us at least probably around 9 cents, maybe 10 cents a gallon. The 6 cents a gallon is not a realistic number. I know Southbridge is low, but and many of the plants like Palmer just went up to 9.5 from 8 cents a gallon. Just in July, because they did analysis, and that's what it's costing them to process the septage. So I just don't buy that we're processing septage for 6 cents a gallon. It's costing us money.
Well, according to
I can tell you what the numbers say. I ran the numbers of what how much it brings in and how much it costs to haul our sludge. And my other comment, as far as other plants, all plants are different. The stuff that you take goes into a tank, and then it goes into a gravity thickener and onto a truck. It doesn't actually go through the plant. The water from the septage goes through the plant, but it doesn't really have a big effect on the loading. And how do I know that? Is the composite sampler is after where the overflow from the gravity thickeners come in. So again, it's your choice. You're the board. You're the people who decide. I'll do what you wish, but I am telling you, in my opinion, if you raise the price, you're going to lose that business. And if you lose that business, which is fine, but now you're going to incur the cost to haul the sludge from the plant. With that said, your plant produces a lot of sludge because it's very chemical independent. Chemicals make sludge. You have lime, you have ferric, you have PAC, you have Chromex, and you have polymer. All of those things create sludge. So I understand what you're saying, Mike, and I'm not disputing your research. All I'm telling you is, if you look at revenue versus sludge hauling, you're paying for the sludge from the plant right now. And in my opinion, if you go up on that price, they're going to lose that business. And again, that's your decision to make, and I'll do whatever you wish. You just have to instruct me on what you want to
do. Shane, I do know it's the board's decision. However, you're the expert in this field, and you did the research and everything. And I, for one, will go along with your recommendation. Is there anyone else that has a comment or a question? Mary?
I have a couple of questions. Mike, what are you suggesting for an increase in price?
Well, I don't know if we have to go up to 10 cents, but I know I'm pretty sure we're losing money right now at 6 cents. So if we went to 8 cents, I don't know if a lot of I know where the sludge is, it's coming from. If we went up to something like 8 cents a gallon, we're not going to lose the revenue because they're coming down, from west of here usually, because the rates west of here are higher. So,
Okay. And Shane, where are you saying it's going to go? You mentioned to competitive. Where would they take their business?
I asked our biggest hauler, because he does, not only does he bring septic to us, he does a lot of work in town with us as far as cleaning pump stations and stuff, and we have a very good relationship. And I asked him straight out, I said, if the town goes to 7 cents, what would you do? And he said, I'd bring it to Spencer. It's 8 miles down the road. And like Mike said, if he hits it right on the head, he's going to get it at 6 cents. Well, obviously, the more septic you bring, the better price you get. So now, if all the septic that he was bringing to Sturbridge is now going to Spencer, he's going to hit that 6 cents.
And what is Spencer charging, 6 cents?
6 cents. So, and I again, and I'm not disputing what Mike says, but all plants are different. I did look at the numbers just for October alone, and the outside septic brought in $20,500. The sludge hauling to Cranston was $15,000. The in-town septic made $17.50. So, again, you have my recommendation. It's really for you guys to decide.
Shane, I know we asked this last week, but can I just ask Shane one more question?
No, go ahead.
Have we ever increased it from the 6 cents, or is that what we started off with?
So at one time when we first started taking it, you were charging 5 cents for in town and 5 cents for out of town, and then, and unbeknownst to me and Greg, you guys weren't even aware that we were taking out of town. That's when Greg approached you and asked you to raise it from 5 to 6 cents. And so in town stayed at 5 cents, out of town went to 6 cents.
And that was like 4 or 5 years ago, correct?
It was at least a couple of years ago.
Mm-hmm. Okay, any more discussions? Chase?
Yeah, I kind of agree with you, Chairman. But if the board doesn't mind, I'm not sure I'm ready to make a decision on this right now. Would it be okay if we tabled it for another 2 weeks and I could do a little homework and I'd feel a little more comfortable voting on it?
Okay, I don't have a problem with that. How's the board feel?
I think it's a good idea, and maybe if Chase and Mike want to share with us in writing what the other towns are charging and stuff, because this is like nothing that I have any knowledge of, and so I'm really going to look to Shane and other board members on this type of thing. But Mike, I mean, you did rattle off quite a few towns, and I know Shane said their plants are different. We're very chemical dependent, but I couldn't keep track of all the different towns you were talking about. So maybe that's useful to have as well, something in front of us. I appreciate what Shane's saying, but at the same time, I mean, we've never increased our price at all. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess we went from... That was
I know, but the The problem with increasing the rates is what Shane has said 2 or 3 times, that the haulers won't be coming to our town. So therefore, we'll be losing that revenue.
Maybe that one hauler, or maybe not.
Oh,
That hauler
Well-
is your biggest hauler.
okay. So in a couple of weeks, we'll have more information. And Mike, maybe you could write something up instead of just generalizations without any specifics.
Well, I gave you the specific rates, I was pretty specific.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was very specific as far as the rates.
No, I wanted on rates, but
Yeah.
I want to know how you think, what entails you saying it actually costs.
Yeah, well, Shane is, okay, I'll write something up because the cost that Shane is presenting does not include capital costs, and it doesn't include, he says it's only 5 minutes of labor, but I don't know, per
Okay,
load.
so we'll get more
Stuff like that,
information.
yeah.
Okay,
And also, what is the additional, I need some information from Shane, like, what is the BOD, the average BOD of the incoming sludge, and what's the, how much is that adding to the plan?
So
there's got to be some BOD loading from that supernation.
So, and here's what I'm going to offer. So, one, I'll get you the information. Two, I've invited, and I've done it numerous times, I've invited every member of this board to come to the plant. And I highly recommend that you do that so you know exactly what we're talking about and not exactly what decisions we're making. To get to your question as far as loadings, I know what the loadings are because we've moved the composite sampler to different locations within the plant with permission from Mass DEP to make sure we were picking up the loading from the sludge. And there's not that much difference when we were taking sludge and when we're not. So, and I can tell you this too, due to our zinc limit, when we stopped taking septage, and we did that for a while during the trial, we didn't change our chemical dosages. We have to keep adding the same amount of chemicals year round, and a lot of plants don't have to do that, and it's because we have a very strict zinc limit. So with that said, again, chemicals create sludge. And in my opinion, and as the operator of that plant, since it's been online, septage does not make a big difference in the chemical dosage. But again, I'd love for you to stop down the plant, and I'll take all the time that you need me to walk through it, and again, then you can make a decision from there.
Okay, so we'll get the information and put it to rest at our next meeting. Okay, thanks, Shane.
Okay, have a good Thanksgiving.
Shane, happy
Shane.
Thanksgiving.
Okay, next under old business, we have 508 International. Jeff?
Yes, at the last meeting, I was asked to look into the survey cost for 205A Podunk Pike. Robin's working with a couple surveyors to look at that parcel and get a quote. I did reach out to KP Law to see if we could use CPC funds for that survey. Because that parcel's not an open space parcel, it's just owned by the town, and it's kind of in the care and custody of the Board of Selectmen. It would not be a good candidate for CPC funds because it's not a CPC use at this point. The court hearing is still on hold until, moving on from that, the court hearing is still on hold until the owners finish up with the Conservation Commission. There's a meeting tomorrow night where, again, the Conservation Commission will see their progress on their plans for the facility and their wetlands impacts and so forth. So we'll see how that goes tomorrow evening. They've not had motorized events on there since we told them not to do that. And that's kind of where we are.
Okay, any comments from the board? Questions? Hey, Ian, do you have any old business?
I do not.
Mike?
Okay, that's it.
What did you say?
Dog park. That's it. I just
Oh,
want to
dog
say
park.
dog park. That's all.
You didn't bark. You didn't
No.
bark long enough.
That's it.
I assume they're still working on it.
Oh,
Mary, any old business?
Okay.
Mary? Any old business?
Did you say me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. No, I just have one question. The recommendation or the appointment, I guess, of the police chief. I noticed that you're having a meeting tomorrow. Are you hoping to decide on one of them at that meeting, or what is the status, I guess, Beth?
So the goal tomorrow is to hear from each of the committee members on their feedback on the applicants and inform me individually of each one's best fit for the community. If we coalesce around a candidate, then we'll go forward with a background check on that candidate. And once a background check is done, that will be the candidate.
Okay, so it looks like probably by the end of the year, you'll probably have somebody before us, maybe.
Oh, I would hope so. I would hope sooner than that, yes. Yeah. But once the, I think what you're going to see tomorrow is the outcome, right? Contingent upon a background check. I think that's what you're going to see.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, Chase, any old business?
I have no, thank you.
Hey, Ian, did I ask you?
You did. I have none.
Okay. And I have none. New business? Ian?
I have none.
Mike?
I have none.
Mary?
Not tonight.
Chase?
No new, thank you.
And I don't have any new. So we have correspondence.
Wait.
Yes, I just handed.
Wait.
I have,
Oh,
sorry.
yes.
I have several new business items. And again, how this works on the agenda. This probably could have been old, but 44 Allen Road, the right of first refusal, KP Law identified 2 deficiencies in the letter. Those deficiencies have been resolved. So the Conservation Commission is going to hear this tomorrow night and make a recommendation. The Planning Board heard it a couple weeks ago and made a recommendation. Got to work with the Board of Assessors. One of the questions I asked KP, and I'm waiting for an answer, if there's no interest from the Planning Board, Conservation Commission, Board of Assessors, and so forth about acquiring the property, do we still need to go forward with the public hearing with the public on a right of first refusal? So I'm hoping to hear back from KP. If we do, we'll set that public hearing up for the first meeting in December. That way we can wrap this up one way or the other, whether go forward with purchasing the property or releasing it to the owner or releasing it to a third party for taking up the right of first refusal. The next item I have is I heard from the Senior Center today. They got 100 mini pies donated by Tabletop in Worcester. If we could accept that donation, that'd be appreciated. It's 100 mini pies.
Is there-
So moved. Chase, with gratitude, Chase.
Hey, is there a second?
Mike, second.
Hey, Mary, how do you vote?
Yes. Where do I get mine?
Not a senior.
Lemon or blueberry?
Yeah. Chase, how do you vote?
Yes.
Sorry. Ian?
Yes.
Mike, did I hit you?
I don't know, but I'll vote yes once or twice.
Okay, and I vote.
As long as they
I
have
vote-
to be line.
All right, 2 more items.
Yep.
Just 2 more items. At your last meeting, you heard from RLS Logistics about a new cold storage facility. They have submitted their letter of intent for the tax abatements for the TIF. Part of that process is to put together the review committee, which includes a Board of Selectmen member. I would ask if the board tonight can pick somebody to be that member, and we can get that committee. There's 3 weeks between board meetings, so, it gives us some time to get this rolling. So if there's a member that would like to serve, I'll get the information out to all of them. But if we can have a member from the board.
Chase had his hand up. Chase, you willing?
I'm willing, yeah. I haven't done anything like that, and if the board wishes, I'd like to, give it a shot.
Okay, someone want to make a motion designating Chase Kabinski as our representative on the TIF review board?
I will so move, Mary.
And Mike will second that.
Thank you. Ian, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Mary?
Mary, yes.
Kate?
Yes, thank you for your support.
And I vote yes.
Thank you. And Chase will get you we'll get everybody the information, but we'll work on setting up a meeting with Chase. Of course, it'll be virtual, but we'll go from there. Thank you. Final item for me, Thursday and Friday of this week and Monday of next week, I plan on using vacation days. We have 3 weeks between meetings, so that gives us time, gives me some time to do some other things for a couple days. So if there's no objection, that would be my plan.
Okay, your days are your days.
All right.
No objection.
Thank you.
Okay, next we have correspondence. Mike?
Yes. On October 30th, the board received an email from Ryan Melville, Deputy Executive Director of the Massachusetts Alcoholic Beverages Control Commission, which went to Jeff Bridges. It was regarding the annual happy hour holiday compliance advisory COVID-19 resource link. And then on November 2nd, we received another email from Ryan Melville to Jeff Bridges, and it was regarding the Alcoholic Beverages Control Commission advisory regarding mandatory closing period for retail alcohol licenses and easing of certain annual renewal requirements. Then on November 3rd, we received an email from Ann Goby, Senator Ann Goby, regarding the governor's update, again, with respect to COVID-19. And then on October 3rd, also, we received a letter from Neil Schofield, licensed site professional, senior project manager, Sovereign Consulting, to Jeff Bridges regarding Tier 1 permit extension for Pilot Travel Center at 400 Haynes Street, Sturbridge. On November 3rd, again, we received a letter from Phil Corville, commander of Post 109, to Chair Mary Blanchard, and I guess that was regarding the cost of some of the permits and so forth. And this is for Shampoo the Laundry, American Legion, Post 109. And then on November 3rd as well, we received two letters from John Mayer, Director of Government Affairs, to Jeff Bridges, Director of Government Affairs for Charter Communications, on upcoming changes on October 30th, which of course was passed on November 3rd, and then on November 1st, those changes as well. So there were some upcoming changes that we received post facto. On November 4th, we got a notification from Sturbridge Conservation Commission to the town administrator and the Board of Selectmen regarding notice to abutters on the construction of the municipal parking lot at 501 Main Street. And on November 5th, we had a letter to the chair, Mary Blanchard, from Barry Lorian, District 3 Highway Director, regarding Mass DOT Highway Division Project 611 933, which is the Sturbridge Roundabout construction at the intersection of Route 20 and Route 131. On November 9th, we received a letter to the town of Sturbridge for the culvert communications, tree removal, Massachusetts Emergency Management Agency, and that was regarding fiscal year 20, FEMA, BRIC, FMA statement of interest evaluation. And on November 12th, we received a letter from John Mayer, Director of Government Affairs, again to Jeff Bridges from Charter Communications on upcoming changes dated 11/7/2020. And that's correspondence for this meeting.
Does anyone else have correspondence? Jeff, you mentioned you had some information that came in today from the Shampoo Landry Post.
No, from the, yeah. Well, I asked the working on the renewals, what's the Legion's cost for renewal? Their cost for the year is $720 for renewal. So I can send you the breakdown of that if you want to look at it next meeting, and see if you want to do anything with that or provide a response to the Legion or whatever it is. So I'll send that out to you all to take a look at.
You can send it out. I just have a problem that here's another case of, if you do it for one, everybody else is going to start asking. And,
Okay.
Everyone's having tough times.
All right, that's fine.
You can send the information.
All right, I'll send the information.
Okay. Okay, that's it for correspondence then.
One other thing, it's not correspondence, but I did, as I emailed out, I don't know, a few weeks ago after I talked to the reporter, the Boston Globe did run the article on the racetrack. I emailed that out to everybody today, so check your emails. I can include that in the packet next time if you'd like. Overall, positive article, talks about the challenges that are going to take place to make this a reality. So it's in your email, but I'll make sure it's in the packet next time.
Right. No, I thought it was a very good article. But it is realistic that it's the long haul.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have the minutes of November 2nd. Any addition? Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yeah, Jim. I agree with you in regards to the Legion as far as, if we do it for one, we're going to have to do it for everybody. But, maybe there's some way that we can help them. And even if they do a fundraiser and we help promote it, if the town does something to try to help them out a little bit, and I don't know what that answer would be right now. Maybe it's something we could think about over time. But, if they needed help, maybe the town could help them in the form of advertisement or something.
I agree.
I know. It would be nice. It would be nice if we could help them all.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with Chase. I like to think about it because they're the only ones that are right now that are asking for help, right? So,
yeah.
Look at it that way
One
too.
asks Barry, every other business is going to ask the same thing. And then the residents are going to ask, well, can you reduce my rate on my sewer, on my water, my taxes?
I don't even mean financial help. I just meant more exposure help, I guess. Yeah.
True. Hey, does anybody have any deletions to the minutes of November 2nd? Mary?
I have a few changes, or editing, I guess. On page 203, the second full paragraph says, Vice Chair Dowling said it seems like there is a disagreement factually between the zoning enforcement officer, the town planner, and instead of the attorney, put their attorney, insert on one hand, and the Conservation Commission on the other, as to when the motorized vehicle stopped. So that sentence should read, Vice Chair Dowling said it seems like there is a disagreement factually between the zoning enforcement officer, the town planner, and their attorney on one hand, and the Conservation Commission on the other, as to when the motorized vehicle stopped. And then on the same page, on the last paragraph, about 2/3 of the way down, there's a sentence that reads, Mr. Bridges said that he does not know if that location of the trail is on town property or not without a survey of the boundary line. Could you insert the sentence, Vice Chair Dowling stated that she supports surveying the land to ascertain the boundaries and to put no trespassing signs up once surveyed. And then I would be happy if the rest of those 2 or 3 sentences are deleted because they're redundant. So again, all you have to do is insert one sentence. Vice Chair Dowling stated that she supports surveying the land to ascertain the boundaries and to put no trespassing signs up once surveyed. And then the only other change I have is on page 205. Under old business, second paragraph, Vice Chair Dowling asked Mr. Bridges if the decision will be by motion, and it reads, or by majority vote. Delete or by and put and. So it reads, the decision will be by motion and by majority vote, not or. And that's it.
Okay, anyone else? Is there a motion then to approve as amended?
I'll make a motion to approve as amended. Chase?
Is there a second?
I'll second it, Ian.
Okay, Mike, how do you vote?
Yes. Mike?
Mary?
Mary? I'm sorry, yes.
Chase?
Yes, Chase.
Ian?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Before we close out on that, on the minutes, I had spoken to Alex. She's so detailed that minutes do not have to be this detailed. These are practically a transcript. So I had offered to get together with her to, explain. Actually, minutes really just need a motion, who seconded it, what it was about, and the vote.
Right.
Okay. We have 12 pages here. So maybe, when I talk to you, we can cut down on, he said, she said, I said, it's like a movie transcript.
It's a process.
Anyone wants.
Yeah, it's a process to learn what's important and what's not, and we'll get there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we've had this trouble for quite a while. Years ago, our minutes used to be fine like that. And then somebody wanted more and more and more, and, we grew. So Alex said she'd be more than willing. She said, she just didn't want to miss any.
Right.
Less to read.
Once she gets the feel of it, she'll be more comfortable, I'm sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, so I'm practicing right now.
Hey, Mary, Alex, we're still all practicing.
Thank you.
Okay, is there any public access?
Let's find out.
Mary, your hair's getting
Good
so
evening.
long.
Is there anyone on the public line that would like to speak to the Board of Selectmen? Hello, is there anyone for the public forum for the Board of Selectmen? There's no one on the phone, and there's no emails to address.
Okay, is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second it. Ian, how do you vote?
Ian, yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Gary?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I vote yes. So you all have a nice Thanksgiving.
You too.
You as well.
Stay
Thank you.
safe. Thank you.
Thank you.
Happy